Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I'm going to be filming a mostly full face of Patrick Ta, and I say mostly because he doesn't offer something for every category just yet, so in those instances I'm going to be using things I already own, but the main focus of today's video will for sure be these products, and I'm excited to see how this goes because there's a few things from his line that I hold so near and dear to my heart, so I'm interested to see what I think of the new things I haven't tried yet. So before we get into it, I'd love for you to subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. I love how well these clips match my sweater today. By the way, I got these little floral clips from Target when I was in the States. But to start, I'm going to be using the foundation duo. This is the cream foundation and finishing powder duo. I'm going to be using the shade Light 2. I recently just raved about this in my last video. This foundation is lovely. I know it's been a little iffy on some people, but it works really, really well for my skin type. I think it's so smoothing and I love the glow it adds to my skin, but it feels really lightweight and non-dewy, which is something I love, but it's hard to find. And you can't beat this shade match. Like, are you kidding? And I'm applying this with my BK Beauty 101 brush. I think it has amazing coverage and I love how hassle-free it is. It goes on really quickly and I never have that many brush marks. Like, it doesn't take that much elbow grease to apply. Just a few strokes and you're good. And before I go in with the powder side, I'm going to go in with some concealer, and I'm using my Milk Makeup Future Fluid All Over Cream Concealer in the shade 6C. And I'm using this because they don't offer a concealer yet. Now I'm taking the powder side, and I love how he has this little shield on most of his duos, just so that the powder kickback doesn't ever get into the cream and it doesn't get all pasty and gross. Now I'm taking that powder on this BK Beauty 110 brush to set under my eyes. This powder is very smoothing and blurring too, which I adore. That's what I look for most when it comes to powders. The one thing I'll say about this duo, and most of his duos, I wish they were refillable because I am for sure going to run through the foundation more than the powder, and to repurchase this whole duo just to get more foundation and then having a whole other new powder is a hassle. So if the brand were to launch refills, that would be incredible. Now that my base is all done, let's add some more fun. I didn't mean to rhyme, but hey, that's nice. I'm going to be using the Cream Contour and Powder Bronzer Duo in the shade She Sculpted. This is one of my top favorite products from the brand, and I believe it was actually my first product from Patrick Ta. And I'm using my Moda blending fan brush to apply the cream first, and then I'm going to add some of the powder bronzer afterwards. Whoa, I put a lot there, whoopsies. And when I apply too much cream, like I just did, I usually start blending it and then I'll wipe off my brush on a towel, and then I'll just continue repeating that until I have the right amount on my face. And if it's still too much, you can always go in with your foundation brush and just kind of blend backwards. I often go back in with my foundation brush even when I applied the perfect amount. I think it just makes everything look way more seamless. I'm going to take the powder side now with this fluffy brush. This is the bronzer brush from Jones Road. It's kind of the looser, fluffier version of the blending fan from Moda. And although I don't think I need more, I'm just going to go in with more for this video. And now I'm going to be going in with my top favorite product from Patrick Ta, which are the blush duos. They're so incredibly good. I took a moment to swatch all of them. I think I have them all aside from one. Okay, so here are all the swatches. How I went about this is I swatched the cream, then the powder of each duo. So these are all separate duos. So we have got Do We Know Her, She's Baked, She's So LA, Oh She's Different, She's Vibrant, She's a Doll, and this is the new one I have. This is the shade She's Blushing, which has a different consistency than the others here, and I'll talk about it in a second. After you get a good look at all of these, I'll highlight my top favorite shades. She's Baked, Oh She's Different, and She's a Doll is gorgeous. And the shade She's Blushing is different because it has a bit more of a shimmer. Not as shimmery as the limited edition palette he brought out in 2022. Not this one, the version that came after this one that I didn't like. That one was very chunky and glittery. It's in the middle of that and these smooth ones here. Because these ones do have a little bit of a pearl, but it's nothing compared to this one here. So I'm interested to see how I'm going to like that. Sometimes with those kind of blushes, they enhance texture that I don't want to be enhanced. And I'm going to be using his application method, which is powder first, then cream on top. But these are awesome because you can use either side alone, or you can go in with the cream side first, then layer the powder on top if you want more of a matte finish. This is the BK Beauty 107. I've been really impressed by their brushes. This has been my favorite blush brush for powder blushes. So I'm taking the powder side first, tapping it off because this one seems to have a little bit more kickback, not in a bad way, just compared to the other shades. Yeah, it's more pigmented than I expected, but it's a cute color. Now I'm going to take my Beauty Blender, my dampened one, and I'm going to press it into the cream. And I'm going to pat it in my palm just to even it out on the sponge and to gauge how much I've got. And by adding this on top of the cream, you're just rehydrating it and making it look more glowy. But you're also kind of locking it in since you're pressing it into powder. And this kind of goes against a lot of makeup theory, but his formula was formulated to do this. So it just works. And now you can see it looks more hydrated. Take this as a warning though, if you are going to be layering both sides on top of one another, make sure you go in with a little amount of both, because as you can see, it's easy to go out of hand with the color. But now that it's on, I think it's a really cute color, but it doesn't compare to my other favorites from the line, but that's just personal preference, of course. I have an eyebrow product here. This is the Major Brow Lamination Gel, but I'm just going to fill in the sparse areas with the Rare Beauty Shape and Fill Duo. And I'm using the shade Auburn. I'm kind of mixing both shades in this palette. And I've recently fallen in love with my brow shape again. I started shaving them a little bit thinner than I used to. I used to want them to be huge and fluffy like my brother's, but I just accepted that the thinner brow looks better on me. So I just shaved the top. You can probably see some regrowth sometimes, but I think it just suits my face shape so perfectly now. Anyways, that can be a topic for a different time. But now I'm going to dip into this brow gel. And I was looking at it earlier and it's very stringy. I'm expecting to see I should call him comments. No, you shouldn't. You should not call him. And it has a fun applicator. It looks like a spiky doe foot. Whoa. Maybe be more graceful when you're dunking back in so you don't create those webs. But I feel like it's kind of clumping up my brow hairs in a way that I'm not super loving because it's making them look a little bit more sparse than they naturally look. I just let this completely dry and set down, and I was expecting it to feel a little crunchy, but it doesn't. It feels a little tacky, but no crunch to be found, so that's nice. But before I move on to eyes, I'm taking some of the powder. Although I'm loving the sheen my skin is having, I just know my skin's going to need a little powder to stay fresh. And look how softening and blurring that powder is. Let's do this side. So here's the unset. And there it is set. Adding powder is so satisfying. I love it. And to prime my lids, I'm going to be using the Rare Beauty Eye Primer. But please enjoy the eyelid priming intermission. So I took a little peek at the colors I have for lips, and look at these colors. They look so beautiful. I think I'm going to build the look around this pink that needs to be on my lips today. That's the shade She's Hard to Get, and this beautiful wine color is She Must Be New. You guys, I might have to switch my blush color because this look, are you kidding me? I think it might have to happen. That's that lipstick I have in mind, and the shade She's a Doll. I'm just so deep in his Instagram right now. I'm like fawning over all his looks. He's one of my favorite makeup artists. I love how he does something a little creative, but still so glam and beautiful and red carpet ready. Red carpet. Is that a fish? Yeah, there it is. Anyways, let's switch the blush and I'll show you how I go about that, especially because I just set my face with powder. So I'm going to take some of my MAC Fix Plus because this just rehydrates everything. There's a lot of glycerin in this product, which really helps to make things glowy again. And I'm just going to fan this in a little bit because if I start playing around with a soaked face like this, my foundation is going to be removed. It's just going to be a hot mess. Now I'm going to take my foundation brush and I'm just going to start patting, not swiping. And I'm patting just to get that hydration deep in there. Now I'm going to take a little bit more foundation. I should have made it clear I didn't have any new foundation on there, but now I am. I'm just taking a little bit. And it might not be completely removed, but it's going to be dulled out. Taking a moment to retouch bronzer and contour as well. And now I'm going to be going in with the blush duo in She's a Doll. And this palette is no longer available, but all these shades are available separately in this form now, the normal duos. And I'm going to do the exact same application method, powder first, then cream on top. So I'm going to create something warm and light for the eyes using the Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. And I'm starting off with the lighter cream with this Refer 27 brush. And I'm going for something very, very blended. These creams are so nice and easy to use. And you can use them as eyeliners as well. I have so many looks up on my channel using this palette. I've gotten pretty creative. This one. I think I'm going to take that same color on my lid as well, actually. And then I'll build more with the darker shades. I'm switching over to a Smith 232 and I'm taking the darker cream now. And I'm going to focus this on my outer corner. And I'm switching to a smaller brush. This is a BK Beauty 210. And I'm taking the darker cream and I'm just bringing that onto my lower lash line. Wiping that off and using the lighter cream to go the rest of the way. And I'm switching to that Smith brush to help blend that out. I'm kind of feeling like a diffused lower lash line. I think that'd be pretty. I've been keeping it pretty tight up to my lashes, but let's just drag it down. And for the shimmer shade, I'm going to use this one, which is kind of like a peachy shimmer. And it's more of a topper shade instead of like a full-on metallic. I'm going to press that into the cream, and then I'm going to scatter it about. And to bring more light into the inner corner, I'm going to use this shade. And this shade is interesting. It's a matte, but it has some glitter in it. So it's still going to highlight quite a bit, but not as much as these glittery toppers. And I just quickly applied some mascara. I used the MAC Stack mascara. And here are the eyes all finished. I think they're super, super cute. Subtly glam, but very, very soft overall. So now for lips, before I go in with the pink, I wanted to try this combo. I'm first going to line my lips with the Precision Lip Crayon in the shade She's Proud. And I have purchased a few of the lip liners in the past. I love the creamy formula, but I'm not a huge fan of the shape. It comes in this rectangle shape, which I find to be a little difficult to use. I think with practice I would definitely be able to get it, but I'm just used to the classic circular shaped lip liners. Now I'm going to try the Major Volume Plumping Gloss in the shade Pouty. Immediately, I'm not a huge fan of the scent, but the applicator is kind of fun. It has a little divot in it, so it applies a lot of gloss. It's definitely a one dipper. Pretty. It doesn't look like a very glittery gloss. That glittery pigment in here really helps to exaggerate the look of the glossiness, which is fun. It just feels a little bit tacky. And I'm afraid, yeah, see, and those lines are created while I'm talking. It's a little bit gloopy. So not for me, but if I'm not talking, it looks really pretty. I'm kind of sad that it's gloopy. Maybe I applied too much. Still gloop. So I am going to be doing a very vibrant pink lip, but I just wanted to show you how you can kind of neutralize a very vibrant color like this, especially if you're used to wearing nude lips. So I'm going to just pat on the pink in the center, but I have that nude pencil around. Just press your lips together, rub them around, and then you can go back in with your nude pencil. Bring that shade down a little more. So you can see it just brings down the vibrancy of that lipstick quite a bit. It kind of mutes it out in a cute way, but it's still a pretty bold lip. So if you're used to wearing nudes, but you want to venture into the more bold colors, this is a great way to kind of lead yourself into rocking those and feeling comfortable in them. So now I'm just going to wipe this off, and I'm going to line my lips with this lip pencil from MAC. It's the shade Talking Points. Okay, lip liner is on. Now let's go full on with this. And here is the finished look. I'm feeling so good in today's look. I'm loving the combination of this lipstick with the blush duo. Unbeatable. This is so fun. And it feels so summery. There's nothing like a super bold pink lip once in a while. So I separated the products into a couple categories, first being my top recommended, which are my favorites and the products I see a majority of people really loving and getting along with. Then moving on to depends on your personal preferences and your skin type. And then lastly, products I could go without. So let's start off with my top favorites. My number one recommended being the blush duos. These are some of the best formulated blushes on the market, and I love how you get a cream and a powder in one little duo. It's just so handy. The colors are stunning and so pigmented but easy to work with. I love experimenting with these duos. It's so fun to layer the textures on top of one another. They just feel truly special. I feel pretty similarly towards the contour and bronzer duo. This is such a nice, easy product to go in with. The formula is so nice and easy to work with. The shades again are awesome, and I love how you get a good difference between the tones here, an actual cool tone and a warm tone. So good. And my last top recommended is the eyeshadow palette. I can fully recommend this one. This is one of the prettiest eyeshadow palettes, and I'm always so in love with the looks I create with this one. I always get a little creative, even though it's a very neutral leaning palette. This is one of my favorites for everyday or for very glam looks. I just love everything about this. The mattes are so nice and easy to work with. The shimmers are stunning and also very easy to work with. And the creams just make this palette so much more versatile and fun to work with. I just have nothing but great things to say about this palette. Moving on to the personal preference section, that goes for the foundation and powder duo. I personally love this duo to bits. I think it works really great with my skin type. So if you have a similar skin type to me where you're kind of oily combination, more normal around the outskirts and kind of oily in the T-zone, you would love this one. I feel like it's so smoothing, it makes my skin look amazing, and products go on top of this beautifully. It's an easy wearing foundation. It looks amazing at the end of the day as well. And same with the lipsticks. I feel like with all lipsticks, it really depends on what you're going to want to wear. This is a little bit more on the matte side than I'm used to wearing, but the pigmentation is great and they're very lightweight. And I feel like it's pretty matte, but it's not accentuating my lip lines as much as other matte lipsticks, and the pigmentation alone is so impressive. I will say that this pink one looks like it's a stainer. I did try to remove this with an oil cleanser. It's there to stay, which I don't mind for a lipstick. That means it's just going to fade nicer and it's going to stay put a lot longer as well. But yeah, definitely a personal preference product for sure, but the formula is very promising. Now let's move into the things that I could go without, first being the lip liners. Although this is a really great formula, I'm just not a huge fan of the actual shape of the product, and I feel like this will be overlooked by me in my collection. I feel like there are pencils I prefer in better shapes that are just easier to use. The color is nice, the formula is nice and creamy, so if you don't mind the shape or if you prefer the shape, I don't think you'd be disappointed in it. I just know for me in my personal makeup life, I won't be using this that much. Moving on, the lip gloss, stunning. look-wise, but very gloopy. And I do not like the scent. So this one is a hard pass for me. And this product was just kind of unremarkable. The Major Brow Lamination Gel. It's okay. I feel like it kind of clumped up my brows and made them look more sparse, and that's about it. And that is all from me. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will have everything I used listed and linked in the description down below. So feel free to check that out, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys!